Welcome back to the Starting Five, everybody, here on HMTV6. Mark Keller with you, joined by Dan Kaufman this segment, Herald-Mail Sports writer. We're going to be talking about some high school tennis and lacrosse this segment. Again, the all Washington County teams running all week in the Herald-Mail. You can catch them online at herald-mail.com all the rest of this week. And Dan, let's start with the ones that have already run, and then we'll give people a sneak preview of the next couple days as well. And Monday's paper, you ran the all-county tennis teams and our players of the year. Let's start with the boys, and that was Max Ober from North Hagerstown. An incredible season for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Undefeated all the way until he got to the state quarterfinals, which is the second round of the state tournament. Probably had the best individual season by a boys singles player in the county in probably at least 5 or 6 years, at least since I had the beat. Just combining his athleticism with his ability to get to the net, which is a skill that he honed as a doubles player, and he really put it all together this season.
And 2 years, second year in a row for Max as that award winner, 39-2 over the last 2 years as a singles player.
Absolutely, and he was a real breakthrough last year. Kind of an unknown quantity as a singles player. Obviously, it had double success with Max Basilis as a sophomore, but nobody really knew how he'd do as a singles player last year, or certainly not to the extent that he was. I think he went 17-1 before playing doubles in the postseason. But he was certainly a known quantity this year, and he didn't disappoint. Finally ended Boonesboro's Serge Allison Gwendell. He had won the previous two county singles titles, but Max put a stop to that this year. Then he went to regionals and beat a real quality player in Urbana's Edward Yoon to win the Region 1 title, and then beat a quality kid in the first round of the state tournament before he finally ran up against somebody just a little bit better in the quarterfinals. But certainly an outstanding season by Max.
Yeah, can't argue with winning your first 22 matches of the season, I guess.
Not at all. And he was certainly, I mean, he was thrilled with all the success that he had. I mean, it was everything that he had hoped for.
Let's look at the girls' player of the year, and that was Kayla Garner from Clear Spring, a senior, and she played singles throughout the year, but then switched over to mixed doubles, as many of the athletes tend to do. You have to get locked into one spot once the postseason starts, right?
Right, and Coach Lisa Shives at Clear Spring knew that as much success as Kayla had, primarily against other Washington County opponents in singles this year, that it was her first year playing singles, and that once she got up against some of the Frederick County competition, if not beyond at the state level, that it was going to be pretty tough for her. So they switched her to mixed doubles, which is typically a little bit of a weaker field. You have more of an opportunity, certainly to make the state tournament, which was kind of the main goal. And she teamed up with Clear Spring's #1 boys player in Corey McClure, and that worked out great. They won a county title, finished second at regions, ran into the top seed at the state tournament, which is a bit of a road bump, but speed bump. But it was a good experience for her. She said she really enjoyed the state atmosphere. And ultimately, I mean, as for her first year playing singles this year, going 13-0 in her singles matches, she met, if not exceeded, all of her expectations.
Of course, I was going to say, going unbeaten in singles, certainly played into her getting that award. So congratulations to her as well. The coach of the year, Lisa Shives, and as we mentioned with Becky Walter, this is becoming sort of an annual thing with Lisa Shives, but she does an incredible job up there.
Absolutely. This is the 5th time in 6 years that she's won this award, and probably the primary selling point to her winning this award is this is the 3rd straight year that they've won both the boys and the girls team title at the Washington County tournament. The girls went undefeated for a 2nd straight season, won the Antietam title. And overall, if you look at all the matches that Clear Spring played this year, singles, doubles, whatever, they won 75% of all their matches this year, which was the highest in the county. So she just keeps earning the awards. Yeah,
a couple others that you mentioned, Kevin Reynolds in particular from North Hagerstown.
Yeah, the boys team was 15-1. They won the Antietam title. Their girls team was a little worse than that at 11-5, but they also had the highest team finish. It's a co-ed team standings at the Region 1 meet, and they finished 2nd overall there, which was a little bit of a surprise. Obviously, Max doing what he did at singles helped that standing. And then they won 70% of all their matches, North did. So Kevin Reynolds had an outstanding year there too. And also you have to look at South Hagerstown's Kevin Henson, what he did with the South girls team this year. They had their best season, both as a team and with some of their individuals stepping up in quite some time. So I want to give him some kudos too.
Okay, great. Well, let's give everybody a quick preview of the next couple days. Thursday, we're going to see the girls lacrosse, and that's Leah Peterson, who's going to be the player of the year there from North Hagerstown, the junior. second year in a row, another incredible year for her.
And you can't really, and this is what my story's about, you can't really talk about her without mentioning her twin sister Kayla as well. They're such a dynamic duo for North, and that North girls team has been the best team now for 2 years. They've both committed as juniors. They've committed verbally to play for Vanderbilt going forward. And Leah just edged her sister out, but she scored 78 goals, 32 assists, 110 points, which is just a phenomenal number. Unfortunately for Leah, her season came to an end one game early because she tore her ACL. Now, she didn't know she tore her ACL until just recently. So that was a tough end to her season. She missed the final playoff game against Century. But, you know, for Leah, I mean, what can you say? She does it all out there just like her sister does.
And that was one of the things we talked about was, you know, how far can this North team go? You know, once these teams, county teams especially, get into the playoffs and get playing down in Carroll County and beyond, it's a much tougher road. So.
No question. And they would have run. They did run into a Century team that was ranked in the top 20 nationally at the time that they played them. That's right, top 20 nationally. Pretty good team. And if they had Leah in for that game, I mean, who knows what happens. Obviously, when you got Leah and Kayla playing together, and other players feed off them. I mean, Anna Compton, Maddie Palkovitz, several of the other players that have grown over the last 2 years just from watching the Petersons and seeing what they do. It would have been nice to have a full-strength squad for Century, but nonetheless, I mean, they finished 13-2 this season. Can't fault that.
No, not at all. Let's look real quickly at the boys lacrosse player of the year, and that's Drew Brooks, also from North Hagerstown, a senior. School records all around for him, right?
Yeah, both this season, I mean, let's talk about the numbers. This season, he set school records for goals with 68, assists with 29, points with 97. And for his career, he had 104 goals, 48 assists, and 152 points, and all of those are school records. And he really did it toward the end of the season this season. I mean, he had 5 games with 5 or more goals this season. And in North's biggest victory, which was a quarterfinal playoff win over Rockville, he scored 6 goals in that game. So he came up big when it mattered, especially at the end of the season in the big games.
And a special mention here to for St. Mary Garrett is Mike Ewing, had a great season as well. 68 goals, 47 assists for him. Coach of the year was a little tighter race, wasn't it?
Of the tennis and the lacrosse awards that I had to decide, the coach of the year for lacrosse was the toughest decision. We combined the coach of the year award for both girls and boys, and ultimately we gave that award to Hammond Erner at North. He's the boys coach, and the primary reason is that team was 3-5 at one point, and they turned it around, won 6 straight games. First year that they've ever won 2 playoff games to reach the region semifinals, excuse me. And he beat out a lot of really quality players, or a lot of quality coaches to get this award.
Okay. Dan, thanks a bunch for coming back in and talking about that. Next week, we'll have Tim Kelby here to talk baseball and softball. Thanks for joining us here on the Starting 5. See you next week.